Hi, so in this video I will give a very quick introduction into what we mean by composite demand. So getting straight into it, when we think about composite demand, what we're thinking of are goods which have multiple different uses. And when we think of this, when we think of composite demand, we're going to realize that the increase in demand for one good is going to decrease the supply of another good. So in order to illustrate this concept a little bit better, I've got an example that we can use, and hopefully this will all make a bit more sense. So we can consider a good which has multiple uses, as we've just said, and one good which has multiple uses is milk. So we see milk can be used in the creation of yogurt, cheese, butter, or it can just be consumed itself. We obviously use milk with cereal and things, and there are plenty more items which use milk, say in baking or a number of dairy products. So let's consider that we have an increase in demand in our economy for cheese. This could be for any particular reason, but let's say that lots of people are choosing to demand cheese. Perhaps there's been a special episode on a cookery program about cheese and everyone starts demanding it. Well, in order to meet this increased demand for cheese, we are going to also increase our supply of cheese. And if we increase our supply of cheese, this means that the milk in this economy, which in the short run we'll assume that we just have a fixed amount of milk that we can use, we're going to have to use lots of this milk in cheese production because we have a greater demand for cheese and thus a greater supply is required of cheese. So all of our milk, or lots more of our milk, is being used to produce cheese, and as a result we're going to have a reduced supply of milk for these other goods, and thus we have a reduced supply of butter, of yogurt, or simply of milk itself, as we've said here, because we're having to divert a lot of our milk into production of cheese. So this means that we have a reduced supply of the other goods which require milk. And so this is what we mean by composite demand. An increase in demand for one good is going to decrease the supply of another good. We can think of lots and lots of goods which have multiple uses. Another potential thing could be crude oil. The raw sort of crude oil that we get straight out of the ground. There are loads of uses for this, and obviously the obvious ones may be petrol and diesel that we put into our cars, but we also use the crude oil for plastics and a wide range of other things. And there are lots of goods like this where the increase in demand for one good may reduce the supply of loads and loads of other goods that we wouldn't necessarily consider. And this can have a knock-on effect in these markets. If we consider a shift inwards of supply in the butter and yogurt markets, this might raise the price of these goods and we can have further knock-on consequences. But that is a quick whistle-stop tour of composite demand, so please do leave a like if this was at all useful. Make sure to check out the playlist for more introductory economics, and do subscribe to add some econ to your subscription feed.